In a world crawling with the undead, where grocery stores are ghost towns and your neighbors want to eat your brain instead of borrow your lawnmower, the idea of holing up in a medieval castle sounds almost poetic. Thick stone walls, towering battlements, a moat filled with regret. The perfect fortress against the apocalypse. You can already imagine it, standing atop the ramparts, wind whipping through your post-apocalyptic hair, rifle in hand, while the zombies below flail helplessly at walls that haven't cared about human problems since the 14th century. It feels cinematic, invincible, like something out of a survivalist daydream. But as every zombie veteran knows, what looks safe on the outside can be a nightmare within. The same walls that promise protection can just as easily turn into your granite-lined coffin. Castles were not built for comfort. They were built by paranoid nobles who woke up every morning terrified of being invaded, poisoned, or betrayed by their cousins. Everything about them screamed survival at the expense of sanity. Those walls, some as thick as small cars are long, laugh at blunt force. Zombies can slap them, bite them, or throw tantrums for days, but stone doesn't flinch. When the apocalypse hits, that's a beautiful thing. While suburban houses collapse under panic and plywood, your medieval fortress barely notices. Its entire existence is an insult to fragility. Add a moat, and you've basically installed nature's own zombie trap. They'll stumble in, rot there, and become a kind of grotesque decorative feature. It's not exactly peaceful, but it's efficient. High ground, another built-in advantage, turns you from prey into watchtower royalty. Medieval architects were geniuses of paranoia. They put castles on cliffs, ridges, or steep hills not because they loved the view, but because it made enemies suffer before even reaching the gate. Zombies, those clumsy creatures of gravity, can barely shuffle uphill without tripping over their own feet. A steep incline means half your defense is done by physics. From your perch, you see them coming from miles away, a slow gray tide of moaning futility. You sip rain-collected tea, adjust your scope, and mutter, "Not today." Then there's the satisfying simplicity of defense. Modern homes are nightmares for survival. Doors everywhere, glass everywhere, driveways like red carpets inviting doom. A castle? Just a couple of gates, a drawbridge, and one very intimidating portcullis. You can raise it, drop it, set it on fire if you're feeling dramatic. Every entry point becomes a choke point. Instead of guarding 50 windows, you just guard the bridge. It's the kind of efficiency apocalypse veterans dream about. Zombies funnel in like traffic at rush hour, and you pick them off at leisure. If you're clever, you can turn those bottlenecks into traps, oil pits, collapsing gates, or the classic boiling water surprise. Castles were built to withstand sieges. And a zombie apocalypse, at its core, is just a really messy siege. Medieval nobles spent months locked inside while armies camped outside, throwing insults and plague corpses over the wall. They planned for that. Wells for clean water, storage cellars for food, and sometimes gardens inside the outer walls for fresh greens. Centuries later, many of those designs still make sense. With a little cleaning and ingenuity, you could transform the inner courtyard into a farm. Chickens cluck where knights once marched. Potatoes grow where duels were fought. You could even have goats, because nothing says civilization endures like goats eating the last remnants of your sanity. Inside, you have layers upon layers of fallback zones. Zombies breach the gate, retreat to the keep. They break into the keep, barricade the Grey Hall. Each retreat point is smaller, tighter, and easier to defend. Castles were basically designed around the idea that you never bet everything on one wall. It's like a survivalist's Russian nesting doll of safety. And unlike a suburban basement, a castle gives you space. You're not sleeping next to your food stash and compost bucket. You have corridors to pace, rooms to train, halls to store supplies. And let's talk about storage. Every prepper dreams of space. Room for crates of beans, stacks of ammunition, and boxes of questionable freeze-dried meals. A castle offers that in abundance. Whole wings could become pantries. Cellars can hold barrels of water and racks of preserved food. You could even dedicate a dungeon to chocolate. Because, frankly, The apocalypse without chocolate is not worth surviving. Each day you spend eating from your own supplies is a day you don't have to risk your neck scavenging in zombie-infested cities. Every can of soup is a miniature victory over chaos. Morale, often the forgotten ingredient of survival, thrives in a castle. There's something empowering about standing where kings once stood, using the same battlements to defend against a new kind of horde. The walls tell you that they've seen worse. They've seen fire, siege, betrayal, and they're still standing. That's the kind of psychological boost you need when the world goes mad. For a moment, you feel like history itself is on your side. But the honeymoon phase ends fast, because castles, for all their glory, come with problems big enough to rival the undead themselves. Let's start with size. A castle is huge, not in a luxury mansion way, but in a too many corridors, not enough people way. Every hallway, tower, and staircase is a responsibility. You can't possibly patrol it all unless you've got an army. Empty rooms become blind spots become hiding spots, and hiding spots become the perfect place for one zombie to nap until you least expect it. Maintaining order in such a place requires constant vigilance. And frankly, no one has that kind of energy once the caffeine runs out. Then there's the issue of movement. Narrow staircases designed to slow invaders also slow you. Heavy doors take muscle to move. When seconds matter, a 5-inch thick oak door might as well be a wall between you and freedom. What once made sense for medieval warfare becomes deadly in modern survival. A castle doesn't just keep enemies out, it also keeps you in. It's the world's prettiest stone labyrinth, and every wrong turn could be your last. Modern comfort? Forget it. Castles predate plumbing, insulation, and the miracle of hot showers. You'll be living like it's the Dark Ages because, well, you are. Stone walls breathe cold in winter and trap heat in summer. You'll freeze, sweat, and curse in equal measure. Lighting a fire helps, but fills the place with smoke and makes your fortress visible for miles. A glowing, "we're alive" sign for every hungry corpse or desperate human nearby. Electricity is another cruel joke. Generators echo against stone like thunder in a cave, attracting everything within hearing range. Solar panels? Great idea. If you can somehow glue them to a castle roof designed for archers, not sunlight. Wind turbines? Try balancing one on a parapet while the wind threatens to throw you off like a medieval flag. Even if you manage it, you'll spend most nights shivering, listening to the hum of your own bad decisions. And here's the paradox of fortification. The better your defenses, the more you invite attention. In a shattered world, a towering fortress is irresistible. It's the ultimate status symbol, safety. Everyone will want it. Wanderers, raiders, even organized groups with guns. Zombies may be dumb, but people are resourceful, and hunger makes them bold. Your castle becomes the apocalypse equivalent of beachfront property. And while you might repel the undead, defending against other humans is a whole different nightmare. You could try diplomacy, but history shows how well that usually goes inside castles. The same walls that once witnessed sieges and betrayals will watch them again. Maybe someone inside gets greedy or tired, or simply decides they could run things better. Castles amplify human politics, the old kind, filled with whispers and paranoia. Ironically, your fortress of safety can start to feel less like a sanctuary and more like a pressure cooker of mistrust. And let's talk about noise. Sound behaves weirdly in stone corridors. A single footstep echoes like an approaching army. Fire a gun, and the reverberation could wake the dead, literally. Even the hum of a generator can bounce around the courtyard like a dinner bell. Secrecy becomes impossible. You might as well hang a sign, "Yes, we're alive. Please invade us between 9 and 5. Then there's the slow, creeping enemy of morale. Castles are dark. Windows are narrow, slits meant for arrows, not sunshine. The air is damp, heavy, and cold. You wake up every morning in half-light and go to sleep to the sound of dripping water and distant echoes. The romance fades quickly. Without comfort or sunlight, Even the strongest survivors start to crack. Depression becomes as dangerous as infection. A fortress keeps your body safe, but does nothing for your mind. Over time, the stone that protects you begins to press down on you, weighty and suffocating. You start counting echoes just to feel time pass. And then, when you think you've mastered castle living, scarcity comes knocking. Wells run dry. Gardens don't yield enough. Livestock become meals instead of companions. The fortress that once promised endless security turns into a gilded cage. You watch from the ramparts as the world beyond teems with danger and think, maybe the ones outside are freer than we are. Because once you're surrounded, leaving is almost impossible. There are no secret exits, only heavy gates and steep cliffs. The apocalypse outside may be chaos, but inside your fortress, time itself becomes the slow killer. Yet despite all that, the cold, the isolation, the noise, the danger, there's something undeniably magnificent about the image of surviving in a castle. The symbolism alone is intoxicating. Humanity once built these fortresses to outlast everything: storms, sieges, kings, and centuries. To live in one is to borrow their defiance. You feel, even briefly, that maybe you too can outlast the end of the world. If you have a group, engineers to rig water systems, farmers to plant crops, guards to man the walls, you could turn a ruined stronghold into a functioning haven. With planning and patience, a castle can transform into a small kingdom of survivors. But that's the key: people. Without numbers, you're just one tired soul lost in too much stone. A fortress meant for hundreds doesn't suit a handful. The halls become echo chambers, and the silence becomes an enemy. So perhaps the real answer isn't about castles at all. It's about scale. Strength without adaptability turns into weakness. A castle might be the ultimate symbol of defense, but survival isn't about walls, it's about balance. The apocalypse rewards the clever, the flexible, the ones who can move when the ground shifts. The mighty fortress stands tall but immovable. The survivor bends, escapes, and endures. Picture yourself years into the outbreak. The castle still stands, the moat still stinks, the walls still hold. But your hair has gone gray. Your laughter echoes alone. The world beyond has changed again, evolved past you. The undead have rotted away. New communities have risen. But you're still here, guarding your empty fortress like a relic. Maybe survival isn't measured in how long you last, but in how well you live while you do. In the end, castles are both dream and warning. They promise safety, but whisper isolation. They show humanity's brilliance and its stubborn refusal to change. A castle can protect you from teeth and claws, but not from loneliness, not from time, not from yourself. And maybe that's the ultimate lesson of the apocalypse. Walls can't save you forever. Still, when the world burns and the moans of the undead fill the night, there's something deeply comforting about standing behind stone that has already seen the worst and refused to fall. You light a torch, climb the battlements, and stare out at the endless dark. The wind bites, the walls groan, and for one fleeting moment, you believe the old builders were right. Survival isn't about winning. It's about enduring. And so, high above the ruined world, the castle waits. Neither good nor bad, neither savior nor tomb. Simply what it has always been, a monument to the will to live, long after everything else has died.